Hey, I'm Craig, and today for the Surfboard Guide, we're going to check out the Mid-Strength by Chilli Surfboards. So I've been riding the stock Mid-Strength, the 610, which is 610 by 21.5 by 2 3/4 and exactly 44 litres. So the Mid-Strength has been out for a couple of years ago. It's not a new model, but it's got a lot of popularity probably in the last 12 months. So if you heard our podcast last year, with James Chilli Chill, he talked about the Mid-Strengths. He had a knee injury about 2 or 3 years ago, and he wanted something that was easy to surf, easy to paddle, but you could still rip on. So here is the Mid-Strength. Personally myself, I've recently done another meniscus tear and a light ACL tear, so I wanted something very similar. I could still surf, paddle easy, it was easy to turn, and here in my quiver is now the Mid-Strength. So looking over the Mid-Strength, kind of like a whitish kind of outline, like a mid-length kind of thing. Still that nice little kind of tip point in the nose of the board, holds its width through the board and comes in this really nice little round tail. The rocker, it's got a low entry rocker, kind of flat through the belly, kind of keeps the rocker nothing crazy, and then it's got a medium exit rocker. So that medium exit rocker will allow you to get back on that board and kind of pivot the board up and give it a lot of maneuverability like a shortboard. On the bottom and flipping it over, the concave, single concave through the front, single comes through the center, and then a double through the fins, and it just evens out really nicely at the back. So that's a pretty tested and tried concave, easy to surf, is going to move really quickly across water and just make the board a whole lot of fun. So yeah, Chilli put this model out a few years ago for himself, something to rip on, something to get back in the water, turned it into a model. It's been out for a while, and I was pretty frothing to check it out. So I've checked out a couple of mid-lengths. I like boards like this. Now I'm getting a bit older, and I was frothing to check this one out because I guess at heart I'm still a shortboarder, and when I get a section I still want to be able to turn and still surf, and this allows all of that. So yeah, something I kind of grabbed for that 1 to 2 foot range. But what really surprised me about the Mid-Strength was its capability and its ability in bigger and larger waves. So we have a wave where I surf, or where I live. I'm going to call it a poor man's Haleiwa, a very, very poor man's Haleiwa. When it gets big, we get big Nor'east swells. It's a right, you can kind of chip in out the back. It has these big peaks, big kind of open faces and that. And I was able to take this out there. You know, it's kind of in that 8 foot range. And the thing was absolutely epic. The volume and the length got me into waves really nice and really early. And the rocker in the board and its outline allowed it to surf like a high performance board and still do some very critical surfing. And the length, it really enjoyed those bigger open spaces and faces, and the thing was absolutely epic. I guess where I'd mostly be grabbing the Mid-Strength in a board like this is when it's small and weak or little rip bowls. The thing eats it up. Paddles like an absolute dream at 44 litres. You're looking like, you know, 13, 14 litres more than my shortboard, and around a foot longer. Paddles onto everything. I'm battling long borders for waves. You know, the wave count is going through the roof. We've got a bit of footage of surfing in some small waves. There's about a dozen waves, and that was filmed in a 45-minute session. So there's a lot of, you know, your wave count is going absolutely through the roof with this thing. So you would have seen a while ago, we put out the initial thoughts on the Mid-Strength. We've also put a few shots on our Instagram and had a crap load of comments, mainly around fins. So people either have this board or they're frothing on this board and want to know what fins would you put with it. So people made some recommendations that I would not have gone for, but I've had this chance to check them out and also let you know what I found was the best. So a lot of people, quite a lot of comments, like maybe a dozen or two, were saying MR twin fins. So the MR is a twin fin with a stabilizer. So I put this in, felt great, gave the board extra release, became really loose, had a really nice pivot, but a little bit too loose. The round tail is really easy to surf and really easy to turn. I don't feel like I really needed the added, looseness and release of a twin fin. But it felt good because your foot is generally over the front fins, so you've got nice drive, and this small stabilizer is not going to have not much hold, and it's going to be really easy to release. So maybe if you're lighter or you've got a bigger one, it might be a good fin to try if you want to give it some more release and get some turns and kind of get surfing a bit more high performance. Lots of people also commented on the H4 by FCS. So we did a review on the FCS H4 a couple months ago in a Hypto as a thruster. They just sent us a pair of the quads. Felt epic. Super fast, but these are larges, and these are, I think the quad rears only come in one side. Felt fast, felt good, a lot of hold. Actually felt kind of a bit tight and hard to turn at times, but if you have the H4s and you throw it in, they'll be epic. As a thruster set, felt really good, just like the MFs and other stuff we'll talk about. But yeah, really fast, but I'd throw H4s in a board where you want to pepper it up a bit and get a bit more speed. This did not need it, but it felt good. So if you get the board and the H4s the only fins you got, it's going to be fine. For a thruster performance set, these are the Mick fanning thrusters by FCS. These felt great. We also checked out the AMs, the Chloe's, every kind of thruster performance set I had. They all felt good. This is the last set I tried, so kind of left them in. Felt amazing. For someone who is probably progressing in surfing from a beginner to an intermediate, great board, and the thruster's probably a really good setup because great pivot, great release, great drive, great hold. Or someone who's a performance shortboarder who wants a fun summer board to catch waves but still rip into some turns. The MFs, the AMs, Chloe's, whatever, are going to feel absolutely epic. Personally, my favorite was this quad setup. This is an old quad setup that I've had for a long time. You've probably seen it in a lot of reviews. I probably need to refresh it. So what it is, it's the AM quads, but it's kind of a bit of a combo. These are medium leading fins, and these are large trailing fins. So they're almost very similar in surface area, and this felt like the perfect blend of drive, really, really drivey. Great release. Sometimes when quads are a bit big, it's actually quite hard to turn them and they feel a bit restricted. This did not feel restricted at all. It felt absolutely perfect. It felt like I had the pivot of a thruster set and that nice release of say the MRs with a small stabilizer, but with the drive of a quad. I've got some clips where I'm doing some turns, average surfing, don't get too carried away, but doing some turns and I feel like the quads are almost accelerating through that turn. So this is my favorite. Felt absolutely epic. Perfect blend of all you want in a fin, which is speed, drive, release, and ease of surfing. So this is my favorite, but everything worked. As long as you size the mid-strength, to the right size, which I also wouldn't get too stressed on, any fin setup will kind of work, but it's really cool to try some different things out. Overall, absolutely love the mid-strength. Having been injured and kind of frothing on bigger, easier to surf equipment, I was really, really keen to check this out. Went into the shop, saw Spence and Chilli and the guys at Chilli Surfboards in Australia, and we went around sizing. When you look at stock sizing for the mid-strength, it starts at a 6'6", and I think it goes to around an 8-footer, but Chilli Surfboards make some of the best surfboards in the world. Customization is not an issue. You can also book time one-on-one with Chilli to design a board specifically for you. So if the stock dimensions that don't work for you, don't be afraid to reach out and design something that does. Sizing, don't get too stressed out. This is about a foot longer and about 13, 14 litres more than my shortboard. It was perfect. But saying that, I'd be happy to ride the 6'6". It's going to have less paddle power and more maneuverability. And I'd be really happy to ride the 8'0". It's going to have more paddle power and less maneuverability. 6'10", 7 foot. I'm 5'10 and a half, 92 kilos. Felt perfect. Wouldn't get too stressed on that, but think what you want. Do you want something for really small waves that's going to paddle really well? Go close to 8 foot. Do you want something for waves that are a bit of push? You're going to do a bit more performance surfing? Probably go down the scale. But if you get into a shop, there's really nothing quite like getting your arm under one and checking it out, and really happy I got a chance to do that. Look, overall, mid-strength, one of the funnest boards I've ridden in a long time. Really helped myself, similar to James, kind of come back from an injury and get me from, wanting to ride like a 9-foot foamy that my kids are normally on through to a shortboard, which I'm trying to do right now. Paddle really well, got across sections with ease. But when I got a section, I want to surf like a shortboarder. Not a rip or anything, but when you want to do a cutty, you want to surf to the best of your ability. This board allowed that, and I really enjoyed that. While I've liked other mid-lengths where you can stand there, put your 5 toes over nose, have a bit of fun, just feel like you're goofing off, you can do this on this board. But if you get like a section that's steeper, you want to do a vertical turn, you want to hack into a layback, this is very, very capable of doing all that surfing. So really, I'd recommend this for anyone from a beginner surfer who wants to progress from like a mini mal or like a mal onto a more of a performance shape. Also recommend it for like someone who's an absolute ripper, rides a shortboard, surfs at a very high level and wants something just to cruise and just make the most of, you know, summer and average surf. Also going to luck in a little clip. Someone that follows the surfboard guide, Evan Caples, he's from around, I think, the Ventura area in California, sent us a clip of him on his mid-strength. I wish I got a clip like this of myself, but I'm just going to add it just to show you how capable this surfboard is. Look, thanks for sending that clip, Evan. You're blown away on the waves you're catching on it. But overall, I absolutely love the mid-strength. It's one of the funnest boards I've ridden. It's going to sit in the quiver for a long time. And I think if I go for a surf where I live and it's 1 foot to 10 foot, I'm probably going to be covered with this board in any kind of conditions. Super fun. You know, you always want to grab out the right board for the conditions, but you're not going to have a bad time with this. Look, overall, I loved it. Thanks so much to Chilli Surfboards for the chance to check it out, and hopefully you get a chance to check one out too. Thanks so much for watching.